What's your name? Oh, Jairam, please. Who's with BSAC. So you know what, Jairam, rather than standing up there, grab a seat right up here. And if your colleague wants to get a picture, they can come on the floor too. Absolutely, please.
Good afternoon, and thank you to the city councilors and organizers present. My name is Jairam Rao, and I'm a senior at the Boston Latin School. I'm here today on behalf of the Boston Student Advisory Council and Youth on Board, an organization composed of students like myself who care deeply about the future of our city. I'll begin with a brief story. The environment was always important to me. I recycled and turned off the tap and helped my dad install LED lights, but the environment didn't dominate every waking hour of my mind. But lately it does. Around this time last year, I was sitting in the front row of my AP Environmental Science class. The lights were off, and the title of a film burned bold against the projector screen, Before the Flood. I remember my teacher saying, "This is the most important thing I'm going to show you all year." I believed him to an extent. I thought perhaps we were going to see the key chart or graph that would help us ace the AP exam in a few months. But it ended up being a lot more than that. Images of smog-choked cities, coastal flooding, and rivers on fire struck me in a way that they hadn't before. All I could imagine was smog so thick it obscured the Hancock Tower, the aquarium knee-deep in seawater, and the Charles River so clogged with trash and oil that it burns for days. That day, everything we had studied in the past 7 months became very, very real. In fact, and I don't say this lightly, my life gained purpose that day, because that was the day I became angry. I began to look in my own city for those who profit off the destruction of our environment. And who did I find but fossil fuel giants like ExxonMobil, BP, and Shell? According to the city's Environment Department, public, commercial, and residential buildings account for 70.6% of citywide greenhouse gas emissions. The Net Zero Buildings Plan is a real and viable opportunity to reduce the city's total emissions by millions of metric tons per year. We would be well on track to meet our emissions goals for the coming decades. You all here today have the opportunity to make a significant dent in our city's carbon emissions by bringing every new structure into the 21st century before contractors even break ground. The Net Zero Buildings Plan is more than just desirable, it's necessary. Luckily for us, it can be implemented with a modicum of willpower on your part, and the returns on investment will be both immediate and long-lasting for every citizen of Boston. 6 days ago, hundreds of young people, nearly all of whom will be voting in 2020, demonstrated outside the State House for climate action. Our votes will speak loudly next year, and they will tell you what our future will look like. This is our chance to make a significant step in the right direction, because if anyone can do it, a city of scientific innovators, engaged citizens, and responsive legislators like Boston can. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Do you know where you're headed, what your plans are for next year?
Boston University, so
Good
you might
man.
be seeing me around again.
Good, excellent. Be you.
Could I just say, I think you should, did you prepare that just for here, or you should just edit slightly some of submit it as an op-ed somewhere. I think it's really important for everyone to read it, and I'd love to follow up to suggest maybe places that would publish it immediately, but you should put that in. And the only other comment that I have is, don't forget that it's not just about 2020. This year matters a lot for elections too, and that there are now multiple open seats on the council and other places, so these races are incredibly important for climate policy too. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilor Wood.